Hello and welcome to Find Your Voice TV, where we explore the physiological, psychological and creative elements that go into your performance. My name's Emmanuella. I am your vocal coach and a performance expert. And today I'm really excited to welcome with us Ceridwen Brown. She is an amazing woman. She is the CEO of one of my favourite companies in the whole world, the Milawa Cheese Company. Based in Milawa, Victoria, Australia. Ceridwen, welcome.
Thank you, Emmanuella.
So I'm going to start with a quote from Shakespeare. Some are born great, some achieve greatness, and some have greatness thrust upon them. And I feel like you've actually had all three of those things happen to you. You have inherited a role that wasn't initially what you intended for yourself, but you've stepped up and you're really owning it.
Thank
you. Yeah, so as the CEO and the female CEO and quite a young female CEO of a really well-established and well-known Australian company, let's talk about that.
Yeah, wow. It's only still very new.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you. It was still a bit of a shock when Dad was like, right, here you go, CEO.
Yeah.
So it was a bit of a shock, but it's something that I think now that I can put my mark onto our family business, and not much had really changed in the last 10, 15 years. And I think we need to you just need to keep refreshing what's happening, because if you can't just sit on your laurels, you can't just make a good product and just hope that it's going to be bought and sold. And so my role is sort of really refreshing the brand and getting it out to more mouths across the country.
Exactly. And that's something that we talk about a lot at Find Your Voice Studios, is that you've got to just keep going. You can't just kind of do, right, my work here is done. Why am I not being rewarded? Exactly. You know, it takes 10 years to make an overnight sensation. And you guys have been plugging away at Milawa Cheese for nearly 30 years and constantly having to have this very clear vision of making beautiful handmade cheeses and still stay current.
Yeah.
So what are the changes that you've made since you've come on board, and how has it been stepping into that role?
Some of the changes that I've made have been around the management structure of the business. I started to sort of building in more different levels of management so that it's not all on the one person. My dad's a very forceful character.
He's a big personality.
He's a big personality, and he has been the main driving force behind Milawa Cheese Company the whole time. But you can't continue a business and continue to grow a business if it only relies on one person. You need to be able to share that stress, the enjoyment, all of it. You need to be able to create great career paths within your business for people to enjoy being at work and seeing a way to further themselves within your business and to help further your business with them. So we've just got a grant to help us with an entrepreneurial program so that I will be having some help from outside so that we can continue to develop that management side of the business.
It's not always easy to make change when things have been done a certain way for a long time, and you often hear that people that really make progress are people that interrupt an industry. And your dad certainly did that when he started Milawa Cheese. He doesn't really do anything the traditional way, your dad, but he creates his own traditions, and that's what's so amazing about him. But now it's your turn.
Yeah.
What are some of the things you're doing to put the next generation's stamp on Milawa Cheese?
Well, we've recently we're still in the process of a rebrand. So we've changed our logo, and that was something that was a bit of a touchy one, because that's the thing, you're in a family business. Mum and Dad made that logo. That has been the logo for 28 years, and you get some different ideas within the family. So starting that conversation was a difficult one. Getting the new logo, which is much fresher and it's more simple. It's just the name, because I think that's been the most important thing, is the Milawa cheese, and just a little circle around it. We've started to roll that out into some retail packaging, which is already getting further out into the marketplace. Beautiful. Which means more people can access our cheese. A lot of people visit us at the cheese factory in Milawa, and often they're always asking, where can we get it when we get home? So more and more, we'll hopefully see it in more of the independent grocers and other retail shops where they can just buy it off the shelf in a set weight, prepackaged unit, which retailers like these days. Not everyone's cutting cheese to order.
So a big part of being a leader is having those difficult conversations. For those, okay, so there's a big difference between people that perhaps don't start out in leadership roles, but they work their way up. You've inherited this position, you've done the work, you've got the knowledge, and you've got the infrastructure in terms of how you understand the company. But, you know, now you're the boss. What are some tips for people that kind of come into these roles and they've got to be willing or able to have difficult conversations, and it might not be their natural way of doing things, or it might not be something that comes naturally to them?
Yeah, awkward conversations are never easy.
Yeah.
No one learns how to make an awkward conversation easy.
Yeah.
I think when in my circumstance, you know, greatness thrust upon me or whatever, I think you just have to own it.
Yeah.
You just have to basically suck it up and be like, buck stops here. If something's gone wrong, it's probably, at the end of the line, it's my fault because I haven't communicated it properly, or I haven't given my staff the right tools to make it happen correctly. But you know, there's obviously, if something needs to be said, then you need to be the one to say it, because you can't let that continue to happen. So you've got to own the responsibility, and you've just got to deal with it. I mean, there's no, I wish I knew a really simple answer to an awkward conversation or the difficult ones, but I think it is just not letting it fester and getting in there and just starting. Conversation starts with that first couple of words, and then you're in it and you can't get out. So
just put yourself there.
Absolutely.
Give yourself the opportunity, and do
believe
you find
in yourself.
Yeah, believe in
because
yourself.
You're there for a reason. As much as in your own head you don't understand why or whatever, but you're there for a reason. You wouldn't be put in that position without some confidence in your abilities from other people. So believe it yourself.
Yeah. And I think there's something to be said for the practice.
Yeah, that's the thing. You can't just hide away from it and say, oh, you go and do that because it's too awkward and I don't want to do it. You've just got to jump in feet first and make it happen. A lot of just, sucking it up and owning it is is a big part of that responsibility thing.
What are a couple of tips for people that find themselves in a position where they've gotten some feedback and they need to differentiate between the ego and the greater good?
I don't know what the strategy is. I think it's just, there's just something, there is that difference. Maybe it is just hearing that voice that's sounding like a petulant child and saying, that's not the one we're listening to today.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not, I guess, I mean, you keep asking me about the strategies on how things are dealt with. And I guess having not been trained into the position, I don't necessarily have this group of strategies of how I approach each individual thing. It's just sort of a learning on the job experience where you go, well, I think in this situation this is going to be good, and the only way to find out for sure is to go ahead and do it, and then you learn from it.
Yeah, exactly. So for those of you who are not familiar with the idea of the petulant child, Find Your Voice, we talk about how inside our head there are three voices. There is the petulant child that kind of, I want to go outside and play, it's sunny. And then there's the parent that says, well, you should work harder or go and do whatever you like. And then there's the advocate that steps in and says, well, it is sunny outside. Maybe 10 minutes will be good for us. I'll do my work better. So that's one of the strategies that we use for differentiating between, you know, the ego and the other bits of us that are actually a little bit more helpful and a little less impulsive. So I really hear from you that this is a fly by the seat of your pants situation and that it really comes down to knowing yourself well enough and knowing that you've done the work in the background, that once you're in a position like this, you can trust yourself and trust your own judgment, but also have enough of an understanding of yourself that when mistakes are made, you can own it and rectify it just straight off the bat. And That's really quite impressive because people can spend years trying to learn those skills, and here you are, throwing it at the deep end and swimming like a pro.
Thank you.
Ceridwen, thank you so much for coming in today. I want to wrap up with a really cliche Monty Python quote: "Blessed are the cheesemakers."
Couldn't get more cheesy.
And if ever there were cheesemakers that were blessed, it really is you and your family. You're really inspiring and you make good food.
Thank you very much for having me.
This is Emmanuella Grace, and you have been watching Find Your Voice TV. I look forward to seeing you again soon. We are located in Milawa at the start of the King Valley, in about 2.5 hour drive from Melbourne. Would love to see you there. We're also on social. We're on Facebook and Instagram.